Hello and welcome to the next episode of my tutorial series Track from Scratch on the Sonicware Liven XFM. In the last two episodes we've covered an overview of what this tutorial series is going to look like and how we're going about doing it. We've covered creation of some sounds and selection of those sounds to use in the individual parts, and we've saved 3 placeholder patterns with the sounds associated with them in the last 3 pattern slots of bank 2. So we have A, B and C. At the moment this is just placeholder, it's not actually intended to be used, but I can play it. I only created it so as we could get a better feel for exactly how the sounds would work with one another and do some basic mix. So first thing I'm going to do is clear the notes in the pad part. Clear. 1. Notes. Okay. So now the notes are cleared. You could see those disappeared. What I want is 16th beats on the lead part. I want to have a bit more flexibility there. And since the sequencer is 64 steps, that means I get 4 bars of 4/4. So my chord part is going to be 4 bars long. Given that this is quite a slow pad, I'm only going to play 1 chord per bar, and I only have 3 notes in any case. So what I'm going to do is adjust the length to 16, which is correct, and the note subdivision to 1/4. Note that dot there, that's dotted 8 and not 8th. So this is 1/4 beat. And then I'm going to, in step time, enter some chords that I'm going to be using. So I think I want a quite open voicing here. That's okay. So we want tie to be turned on, and we want to be using step edit here. So step edit, what happened there is because I brought up the synth engine selection, the value knob was adjusting that. To make that go away, I went to another track and came back. So I've selected step 1. Each one of these blocks is going to be 1 bar. So I'm going to play my first chord, and I want it to extend over the first 3 quarter notes in that bar. So that was here. Next I'm going to play B. Okay, that's good. Next, this I think. And finally, doesn't really make sense, does it? I think I prefer to have that. Okay, so let's mute the other parts and just listen to this. So the release is a bit long. Short now. Okay, I think that makes sense. So let's go to part 2. It's just a placeholder, so I'm going to delete the notes and I'm going to unmute it. So this was intended to be our bass line. Maybe I like it a little slower. So 87 beats per minute is what I'm going to go for this. So for the bass part, I think, as I said, I want everything to be 4 bars long. Probably I want something relatively simplistic, so I might actually go for 8th notes here. So that's 8th notes. And then if they're eighth notes and I want 4 bars, then I need 32 steps in the pattern. So we can see here, we're on the second set of 16 steps, now the first set of 16 steps. When making adjustments to notes and length, you can find that the patterns can get out of phase with each other. So usually it's easiest if you stop and then play again. To play this in, I'm probably going to want a metronome. So the part that I played actually ended up with 16th beats in, so I'm going to have to change the note division to 16ths, and I'm going to need 64 steps. So I'm going to clear my pattern. I'm going to start playing again. Third pattern page, fourth. So I think I'm happy with that. I'm going to turn the metronome off. Probably be a little louder. Okay, so the next step, this one is going to be the drums. So I'm going to clear the notes here and unmute it. So I'm thinking this is going to need to be 16ths, and I may experiment a little with a different way of making the drums here. In particular, what I might do is I might make 4 different patterns and use the randomize feature to have it pick between those as it moves forwards, just to add some variation. So I'm going to stop playing for now. I'm going to switch us into patch lock mode. I'm going to go to the library engine and pick kicks. So let's see. Okay, so this is the 4th page. Okay, this is now the 2nd page. First page. So I'm just going to mute the other parts now. Okay. So this one I probably meant to have on the 11, so there. So now I'm going to add a snare sound. So let's go for snare. Okay, maybe that's snare sound. So probably I'm okay with the snare on the 5 and the 13 here. So page 2, 3, 4. So let's play. Okay, I think that works. So very basic pattern. Maybe I'll add some hats. So let's see what we got. Hats. Interesting. So I feel like at full velocity it was a bit loud, so I'm going to record them in at lower velocity. So it actually is affected by the pitch of the note that you play. Okay, let's try this. So now we have the pads back in. We're on to the final part. Cleared the notes on part 4. So 64 steps, 16 beats. So let's just think about what we're going to play. So I think I'm happy with that. Not the greatest thing in the world, but I think it goes to illustrate the features that are available. I mentioned that I was going to try and use the randomize feature on the drum track. So the randomize feature is made of two things. First is the rand step parameter. When off, if you enable randomization, nothing will happen to this track. When set to 1, the entire track will be divided into 1-step sequences, which will be played at random. In other words, all the steps across the sequence will be played in random order. If we pick 2, it will pick sequential 2-step intervals, and it will play a random 2-step sequence in order, or 4-step sequence in order. So let me enable randomization, and let me mute the other parts so you can hear it. So you can see it's jumping between banks, and presently it's playing little intervals of 4. I can make it play intervals of 8. So it'll play half a bar, half a bar, half a bar, mixed from everywhere, but I want it to play 16. So that means it's going to play 1 bar at random, then randomly select another bar to play. Okay, so I think that's the first pattern made. I don't think I'm going to do anything particularly interesting for the second 2 patterns that I'm going to be making. They're going to be pretty similar to this. So rather than sit here and show you the whole process, I'm going to call an end to this, this episode. And when we come back, I'll have written all 3 parts, and we'll move on to arranging those out to make a full song. So as always, thank you very much for watching, and goodbye.